Well, every now and then OBS gets me and it doesn't record the voice properly for some reason, so I'm going to just have to dub over this. I'll do my best to lip sync. So, anyway, I just published a video on how to cut a spiral shape into a hollow body, like I did this leather cover for this saber handle. That's one continuous piece of leather wrapped around that handle, and I cut that using a spiral, or a coil, I'm sorry, shape. And the other video demonstrated how to do that. In this video, I'm going to show you how I created a knurl on the handle instead, which is cutting into it rather than cutting out of it. But I'm just going to walk through the process here. I'm going to back the timeline up here to before I created it. And so the first thing I need to do is I'm going to turn off everything I'm not editing here, and I'm going to create a mid-plane in the center of this that I'm going to need to be able to mirror. This process is very similar to doing knurling on a cylinder, but clearly different. But we're going to create a coil and mirror it just like we would if we were doing knurling on a cylinder. I can't just do a mid-plane between these two because the two ends aren't parallel, so I need to create an offset plane down here to do a mid-plane between them. I'm just trying to get it as close to the end there as I can. And that's close enough there, it looks like. And now I'm going to do a mid-plane between the two offset planes I just created. So next thing I'm going to do here is I need to create a duplicate of that handle. And then I'm going to use that, I'm going to use offset face to make a cutting tool to hollow out this handle. So I'm going to use that copy I made and offset the faces inward, the depth of what I want my knurling cut to be. So I've got all those faces selected. I'm going to set my knurl to be 1/32 of an inch deep. So I'm going to do a negative because I want to shrink that cutting tool body down. Negative 1/32 of an inch. And now you can be able to see we have two bodies here, one inside the other. So there's the one body, and if we do that, you can see the silhouette of the original handle. Now I'm going to do a combine Boolean operation to hollow out the original handle. Select the original handle. The tool bodies will be the new shrunk down handle. We want to keep tools because we need that body later to basically weld all the pieces back together. We'll have a few hundred diamonds that we need to put back on that body. So now if we turn that cutting tool off, you can see we have a hollow handle now. Now I'm going to create a coil. I'm going to put it on this plane. And then what I want to do is I want to try to get right in the middle. I want to kind of line that handle up and get this pretty much in the center of that opening. I don't really have a point there to select, so I'm just going to eyeball it. And then I'm going to flip it around the other side. And I want to get it out to that plane. Somewhere out there. We can adjust it when we get it fixed up here. It looks like it went the wrong direction for some reason. I'm not sure why. We'll fix that here in a minute. All we got to do is drag the arrow back. So the first thing I'm going to do is set my section width, the width of the coil. I want to set that to whatever I want the width of my knurl cuts to be. I'm going to make that a 1/32 of an inch, just like I did the depth. I'm just going to drag that back to the other side and get it out there to the end of that plane. I want to get it just past the body. And then I want to make sure that my handle is completely within, which it is. And now I want to go ahead and mirror that coil across that mid plane that I created. I'm going to mirror features and go select coil off the timeline and then select that plane. This is exactly the same as doing a knurling on a cylinder, but now's where it's going to get different. So now I need to make this into a cutting tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset the inside face of that coil. If I didn't mention earlier, I used a square shape on my section so that I would have that face to be able to offset. So I'm offsetting both coils. Now I'm doing the second one. And I'm dragging this as far into the center as I can. I want to make sure it cuts all the way through that part. So and you want to try to make sure these coils are right in the center of that thing. And you'll see here at the end that I was off a little bit here. But if you get a result like you're going to see on mine, then you just have to come back here, use the move operation on the coils to adjust them a little bit to get them to where their center of the coil is in the center of the handle. So now what we're doing is creating a rectangular pattern of each one of those coils. We're going to set it to symmetric. We're going to make the spacing to be whatever you want the knurl size to be. I'm making it a 1/2 inch here, just to make the performance here go a little faster. The smaller you make it, the longer it takes to calculate these things. So I'm setting it to a 1/2 inch distance, and then I need to create enough of them to make sure that the cross pattern covers the entire handle. So you can kind of see a shadow of the handle in there, and you can see that the cross pattern is overlapping all the way to the end. So we're going to say OK. And then we hover over the handle, it highlights it in there. So you can kind of flip it around and check things out. And right there was my clue that it wasn't all the way into the center. I didn't catch that earlier. So now we're going to do another rectangular pattern on the other coil. Same thing. So grab that, set it to the same things, 1/2 inch, And I think I did 20 of them here to get coverage across the whole thing. Okay. Now I have 40 coils here, so my next step is going to be to combine these into a single body. Here I'm just highlighting the handle so that I get an image of it so I can make sure that my cross pattern on there covers the entire handle. So grab the combine tool, grab our first spiral right there. We want to avoid that very first handle thing there because that's our inner piece that we want to keep separate for now. I scroll to the bottom, select them all. It's going to take this a minute to calculate, so I'm going to jump ahead. Okay, we're back, and we've got 40 bodies here selected, so that's what we were looking for. We want to turn off keep tools because we only want to keep the combined body. We don't want the spirals left hanging out there. It's going to take a minute, and when we get back, then we're going to do another combine operation, this time with the handle as the target and the combined spiral as the cutting tool. So select cutting tool and keep tools turned off, and click OK. And we're going to turn this around and take a look here and get a best look at whether that's centered in there or not. It can be hard to figure, and you'll see in a minute that I missed by a tiny bit, but all you have to do is move the cutting tool or the original bodies to get them where they need to. So you might have to back up and do this again if it doesn't hit it exactly on the first try. So now this has created like 200 or 300 diamonds, and of course if you're doing a tight knurl, I did a loose one just to limit the number of bodies in order to keep the performance up, but we'll spin this around and look at the cut that it did, and we can see right there that problem I said, and that's because the cutting tool wasn't quite in there. It needed to be moved to the right just a tiny little bit. But otherwise it looks pretty good. So now what we want to do is we want to join all of these with the original handle. I'm sorry, with the cutting tool handle, and bring them all back into one body instead of having 200 or 300 bodies sitting out here. So grab the combine tool, select the original handle, and then we're going to take all of these diamond bodies, scroll to the bottom, make sure it's a join operation. Okay, and all right, everything combined down into one body now, the handle, and It looks pretty good. I mean, we know we have that issue on the other side, but that's just a matter of making adjustment and positioning on those spirals. Just move it a little bit to the right, and it'll be fine. So I am going to disable all of that and re-enable the original ones I did that were in a tighter pattern, so you can see a more successful turnout where I had everything aligned correctly. So I'm just going to suppress those, and then we'll pop the timeline out here. This is going to take quite a while to recalculate all of this, so I'm going to jump ahead, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, there we are, we're back. This is a 1/4 inch knurl. You can do tighter than that if you want to. The tighter you make it, the more of those free diamonds you end up with, and you'll have some processing time to combine those. But as you can see, when you get that the coils aligned right, it does a really nice job. This looks great. I think that's all I have for now. I hope this helps somebody out. Take care.